Welcome to the second edition of the sesquicentennial presentation of the history of West Bend on DVD. This segment starts in the late 1940s. We begin this presentation with aerial view of the Ron and Kay Brown farm west of West Bend. Directly behind the barn can be seen the west bend of the Des Moines River. This is the original site of the settlement of West Bend. The farm place and the river bottom have been in the Brown family since the 1950s, when W. Richard Dick Brown purchased the farm. The land is still used to pasture livestock and for hunting. These photos show the West Bend High School Marching Band performing at the Mason City Band Days, circa 1952. This photo is of the Ray Wilsons and Reuben Anlickers with a catch of fish taken from one of northern Minnesota's many lakes. Sidney, Reuben, and Melvin Anlicker shown constructing a new machine shed on the Anlicker farm, circa 1952. A 1953 photo showing the damage done to the river bridge just west of the Ron and Kay Brown farm. In 1993, this bridge was damaged by floodwaters again, and a new concrete bridge was constructed. Another picture, taken in 1953, showing Art Frieden washing his car on the road in front of his farm place. This picture shows Leonard Anlicker on the wagon and his father, Reuben, on the new Super MTA International tractor, combining oats with a Massey Harris 60 combine. Herschel Perkins windrowing oats, circa 1957. After the advent of the combine, batch dryers were the next piece equipment needed by the farmer to further modernize his farming operation. The dryer was used to lower the moisture content of the corn after it was combined and before it was put into storage. These machines were usually mounted on wheels so they could be moved from place to place. Shown here is such a machine being used on the Dick Brown farm with Dick and Marge's daughter, Elaine, helping keep things going. This photo is of Leonard Anlicker's 1946 Ford convertible. Others in the picture are Dennis Barber, Jerry Thatcher, and several younger 4-H members, circa 1954. W. Richard Dick Brown and his father Alvin shown skinning beaver that had been trapped along the river. The picture was taken in 1955. Ron Brown and Kirk Wagner are shown here with processed felt fox pelts. Ron Brown and Radney Wagner started the B&W Fur Company in the 1970s. The men were all hunters and trappers, which follows a rich tradition in both families living on the west bank of the Des Moines River. They employed several people to skin, stretch, and dry furs, and sold loads of the processed fur directly to fur houses in New York City and North Bay, Canada. This is a picture of some of the processed fox pelts being readied for shipment out east by the B&W Fur Company. This picture was taken in 1977. This photo shows processed raccoon, beaver, and muskrat pelts ready to be shipped out east by the B&W Fur Company. This is a 1984 photo. Kirk Wagner shown with processed coyote pelts in 1986. Ty Brown, son of Ron and Kay Brown, continues the hunting and trapping tradition in the Brown family into the 21st century. He manages a food plot for white-tailed deer and also operates a trap line. This is a 2001 photo showing Ty with several coyote pelts. In this photo, Lena Banwert Grimm and Louisa Banwert Anlicker are dressed as twins. They are sisters, though, and perhaps are trying to confuse family members as they gather at the Joel Banwert homestead for a family gathering in 1957. As you can see by the size of the cooking utensils in the picture, preparations for family reunions took a lot of cooperation and effort on the part of the many family members. This photo shows Mrs. Reuben Louisa Anlicker and Mrs. Paul Elizabeth Banwert at work at the Joel Banwert family reunion in 1957. Getting ready for the 100th birthday bash for the city of West Bend. Much blood, sweat, and tears went into the preparation for the centennial celebration. Gordon and Ruth Anderson and Roy and Jean Forsythe, in their old-fashioned finery, are ready for the centennial dance. Models Ann Elsenbast, Nisha Henley, Susan Mikes, and Bonnie Alfers are showing off circa 1856 dresses. This is a photo of the 1956 Centennial Committee. From left to right are A.E. Pirtle seated, B.K. Peterson, Stephen B. Williams, and Roland Juergens. This is a photo of some of the townsmen that grew beards for the 100th birthday bash. The group is standing in front of City Hall. From left to right are, front row, Lee Hecker, Howard Stricker, Bob Jones, Bill Campbell, and Elvin Rolfson. Century of Progress. This is part of a video taken and narrated by Don Jacobs for the town Centennial, and the following pictures are also from this film. This is a picture of Dr. Frank Givens and his wife Lily taking a break from their busy schedules. A gathering at the Franklin Hotel to celebrate Lily Givens' birthday. The people in the picture worked for the Givens. People in the picture from left to right standing are Petria Christensen, Judy Zog Schmidt, Myrtle Zog, Ella Mae Doty Proctor, Ethel Krug Klepper, and Carol and Louis Juergens. Around the table are, left to right, Mrs. Walter Bell, Vera Andreg, Mary Cobb, Elizabeth Lizzie Schmallen, Mrs. Leo Ludwig, and Clovis Edgington. This is a photo of the addition to the public school that was begun in 1955 and completed in time for the class of 1957 to use. The new addition made more classroom for the vocational agriculture program, industrial arts, a new gymnasium, home economics room, girls' locker, band room, and kitchen facilities for the lunch program. Superintendent at this time was Earl W. Stevens. He began his duties in the West Bend Community School District as principal in 1955. He ended his career 28 years later in 1983, having served as superintendent from 1958 until his retirement. This is a southeast view of the Saints Peter and Paul Catholic School. The school has kindergarten through 6th grade classes. This is a photo of Myra Albert Coons wearing her great-grandmother's wedding dress for the Centennial Parade in 1956. The Cavalcade of Queens are from left to right: Myra Albert Coons, Joan Mersch, and Janelle Bargman. Some of the girls we could not identify. Myra and Joan are wearing their grandmother's wedding dresses. This is a photo of the interior of the West Bend locker plant when it was owned and operated by Norbert Nub Connect. Shown with him is Aaron Anliker, son of Mr. and Mrs. Ben Anliker. This is a picture of the beginning of the demolition of the Apostolic Christian Church. The Apostolic Church nearly torn down. The church is down to its foundation. A picture of the church as it is today. United Methodist Church in West Bend. Peace Lutheran Church showing the 2 additions built on. Saints Peter and Paul Catholic Church. This is a photo of Myron and Vera Boos on their 50th wedding anniversary. Boos Produce had a large impact on the business community in West Bend, employing at times nearly 100 people. Vera was involved in community projects as well. She was instrumental in starting the West Bend Public Library, among other fundraising events. West Bend Municipal Swimming Pool is located on the southwest corner of the West Bend School grounds. The pool was built with combined efforts of the community, the school district, and the town of West Bend. It was constructed in 1967. The Standard Oil Station on the corner of Broadway and 3rd Street was built in 1949 by Glenn and Catherine Blair. Glenn operated his Standard Oil bulk delivery service from this location until his retirement in 1976. This is a copy of a photo as it appeared in the West Bend Journal in 1976. This is a picture of the station as it appeared in 1962. The service station was operated by Romy and Artie Connect from 1953 to 1989 under the Standard Oil logo. In 1972, the station was remodeled and updated, and a car wash was added to the services offered by Mr. Connect. A brick facing was added to the building at this time, and the Standard Oil logo was replaced with the Amoco sign. A West Bend Journal photo of Romy and his wife at the time of their retirement in 1989. This is a picture of Kevin Doty left and Romy Connect on the right. If you do the math, you will find that gasoline prices at that time were 41.9 cents per gallon. A photo taken at the time the equipment and merchandise was auctioned off after the Connects retired from business. In July 1989, the underground fuel tanks had to be removed as per state law. This is a picture of Romy using a hand shovel to remove dirt, while Mark Montag of Montag Excavating supervises. In 1992, Lisa Blair leased the old service station for use as a cabinet and furniture refinishing shop. The business was called Blair Cabinetry and Refinishing. Operation of this endeavor ceased in 1997. Lisa Blair continues to lease the building. It currently houses a warehouse she manages for Iowa Select Farms. This firm has approximately 50 hog farms in a 4-county area around West Bend. The warehouse provides animal care medicines, clothing, office supplies, and production repair parts for Iowa Select Farms. This is a photo of the building as it is today. The Robert H. Cast Shelter House was built in honor of the longtime vocational agriculture teacher Bob Cast. The building was constructed in the early 80s by the VOAG class and with the help from former students and the FFA alumni. This old buggy was sold on the John Mersch farm sale. It sold for $150. The buggy had been disassembled and stored in a barn for many years. The buggy was reassembled by Eli Grimm Jr. This is a picture of the old schoolhouse that was bought by N.H. Falb, one-time editor of the West Bend Journal. In 1916, the building was moved to town from the Gold Trap settlement and used for an office for the Journal. In 1956, a new Journal office was constructed by Elmer and Gaverna Cole, and the old building was moved to the back of the lot and used for storage. In 1974, the West Bend Historical Society became owners of the old school building. They restored the building to its former use as a schoolhouse. In 1976, the West Bend Historical Society held a ribbon-cutting ceremony on the same day the United States celebrated its 200th birthday. Tassie Brown and Don Jacobs were the ribbon cutters. Another view of the ribbon-cutting ceremony. This is a photo of the first class to hold class in the newly renovated old school building. It is the 1976 fourth grade class of the West Bend Community School. This is a photo of the 1970s version of a hog confinement. Eli Pee Wee Grimm Jr. is making sure things are going as planned. This is a 1972 photo of Richard Brown watching and loading of Duroc pigs. Dick and his son Ray exported young 50-pound purebred Duroc boars and gilts to Hong Kong, China. The animals were grown out and then used as breeding stock in China. These hogs were loaded on a plane in Sioux City, Iowa, and then flown to their destination. The airplanes had the seats removed and partitions installed for the transportation of several breeds of purebred swine from Iowa to Hong Kong. Summer theater began in West Bend under the direction of Craig Enan in 1979. Admission to the first year's production was $2.25 for adults and $1.50 for children. A picture of Mary Holland and Patsy Banwart and Opal's husband. A cast picture of the production You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Craig Enan as Charlie Brown. A photo of the cast of Annie in 1988. A photo of the burning feed mill at West Bend Elevator in 1972. This is when the fire seemed to be at its worst. This picture was taken as the fire was being brought under control by the firemen. You can tell this by the white color of the smoke billowing from the structure. In this photo, you can see very little flame coming through the roof. Shortly after this, the firemen had the fire well under control. This is a picture of a 1928 L-Series case tractor restored by Eli Grimm Jr. Several of the neighbors came by to make sure Eli had the old tractor restored as it should be. The neighbors are, from left to right, Ralph Banwert, Carl Lenz, Frank Christensen, Eli Grimm Jr., Bernard Hartman, and Gerald Graber. This is a picture of the banner used in the 125th birthday celebration of the town of West Bend. Boys of the Bush in the photo are from left to right Eli Grimm Jr., Bob Banwert, and Dean Banwert. This is a picture of other beard growers for the celebration. From left to right, front row are Merle Porter, Bill Campbell, Reverend Dale Batchelor, and Henry Dahlhauser. Back row, left to right, are Jack Cole, Dean Banwert, Unknown, Delbert Burninghouse, and August Schaefer. A photo of the quilt that was raffled off during the celebration. The quilt blocks were made by the businesses of West Bend, sewn together by Clara Bruhlman, and quilted by ladies of the community. Sheriff Benji Banwert, Deputy Gary Juergens, and David Stetzel getting ready to jail an unknown and unbearded citizen. Jack and Donna Cole, owners and editors of the West Bend Journal at this time, in their celebration finery. Part of the talent show during the celebration. Participants were Doug Wirtz, John Banwert, Heather Garton, and Nancy Gears. King Ern Blair and Queen Regina Schmallen riding in the parade. West Bend High School Marching Band in action. West Bend Fire Department members pulling the hose cart used by the original fire department. Members pulling the cart are, front to rear, left to right, Mark Lubenthal and Joe Montag, Robert Runchie and Gary Doc Lauk, Max Dahlhauser and Bob Sewell. Grand Marshal Rudy Bonstetter and his wife Ellen riding in the parade. The buggy is driven by Harlan Bonstetter, his wife Millie, and their son Kyle. A float entered by Dahlhauser Machine Shop. Riding on the float are Henry Dahlhauser, his son Max, and Max's son Mike. A 1931 John Deere Model D tractor owned and driven by Eldon Banwert. Notice that the steel lugs have been removed to keep from marring the blacktop road. Eldon added rubber strips to the steel wheels for better traction. Saddle Club members Ronald Tilgis and Richard Salty Harms leading the rest of the club during the 1981 sesquicentennial parade. The first grade class in the homecoming parade in 1983. Denise Bathke was their teacher. Flag Line Camp 1983. Girls pictured left to right are Patty Grimm, Sherry Cantrell, Diane Wilson, and Chris Cantrell. High school volleyball at West Bend. The Bulldogs are playing the Algona Bulldogs. In this photo, Dana Grimm of Algona is playing against her cousin Peggy Grimm on the West Bend team. West Bend High School football team at their first state championship game. The team lost to Pekin of Packwood. Superintendent Earl Stevens with the Bulldog mascot, celebrating the football team's second place finish in the state championship game. This sign is located on the school grounds showing how the football teams have fared over the years. Another view of the sign of accomplishments for the teams. picture taken in 1981 announcing that RAGBRAI, Register's annual Great Bike Ride Across Iowa, is going to go through West Bend. Another picture of RAGBRAI activities. This is a picture of the street banner that was displayed during the sesquicentennial. It is the first time banners were used in town. The West Bend Chamber of Commerce sponsored a contest to try and find a banner design that would fit the occasion. Tara Bargman Thompson was the winner with this design called A Taste of Iowa Life. This is a picture of the banners that are now displayed on Main Street in West Bend. This picture is a recent aerial photo taken of the Grotto of the Redemption. The view is looking south with the pond out of view. This is a picture of the beginning construction of the sod house located on the corner of 1st Avenue East and 3rd Street. The sod house nearing completion. The finished product. A view of the sod house as it is today. An interior photo of the sod house. A different view of inside the sod house. In 1993, the West Fork of the Des Moines River overflowed and became known as the Great Flood of 1993. The road was washed out and the old wooden and steel bridge was washed out again, this time replaced with a new concrete bridge. The road west of the Brown farm was closed while construction was underway. In this picture, Ron and Kay Brown's daughters Betsy, Tiffany, and Dixie are shown in the farmyard looking southwest toward the old bridge. In this photo, it shows how close the water came to the Brown farm home. At this particular point, the river had become 1 mile wide. This first photo of the old post office shows the restored building. The old building was relocated from the early West Bend settlement and moved to the Andy Gish farm. The building remained there until the farm was purchased by Gary and Mike Schneider. They, in turn, donated the building to the West Bend Historical Society. The old building was moved into town by Heartland Moving of West Bend, and restoration began at once. About 1 year later, the project was completed and was done with only volunteer labor. An interior view of the restored post office. Another interior view of the post office. The interior works were found in an old building located in Bradgate, Iowa. Gary Nave owned the material and donated it to the Historical Society. This is a picture of the old Presbyterian church that was owned by the West Bend Historical Society and used as their first museum. It was opened at the sesquicentennial in 1981. A view of the interior of the old museum. Robert Klepper, Mayor of West Bend, cutting the ribbon at the opening of the new museum building on July 1st, 2006. Museum open house ribbon cutting ceremony at the new historical museum building. Left to right are Margaret Grimm, Bob Klepper, Margaret Hartman, Kay Banwert, Jan Stricker, and Irene Banwert. Mannequin barbers at work in the new museum. A photo of the exterior of the new museum. The construction began in September of 2005 and was completed in May 2006. The artifacts were moved into the new building in June 2006. Farmers State Bank, located in the Old Home Federal Building. Broadway looking north. Cenex Convenience Store and Max Yield Cooperative Service Center. Private Cellar Liquor Store. Skoglund Meats and Locker. Country Made, manufacturers of butter braid breads. Casey's General Store. Pioneer Seeds. West Bend International Corporation. Storage elevators of Max Yield Cooperative in West Bend. New office building of Max Yield Cooperative. J.B. Mertz & Son, John Deere Implements. Don's Repair Center. Protein Resources Incorporated. Dahlhauser Machine Shop. Collision Center of West Bend. Park View Inn and Suites Motel. West Bend Care Center and the Prairie Creek Assisted Living. Community Lumber and Supply. West Bend Municipal Power Plant. West Bend Ford Incorporated. West Bend Office of Northwest Communications. These first two photos are of tractors gathering at West Bend International grounds for the tractor ride on Friday afternoon. This was one of the first activities kicking off the sesquicentennial celebration in West Bend, which was from June 31st to July 2nd, 2006. Keith Grimm shown with the Model 66 Oliver tractor. Part of the crowd watching the antique tractor pull. Mayor Bob Klepper at bat for the city of West Bend. Some of the Friday night street dance action. People beginning to gather for the Saturday morning parade. The announcer for the parade was Paul McCartan. West Bend American Legion leading the parade. From left to right are Jim Sewell, Harold Montag, Howard Stricker, and Marvin Stricker. Bob Klepper, Mayor of West Bend. Grand Marshals of the parade were Virgil and Pearl Enochson. King and Queen of the parade were Romy and Artie Connect. Prince and Princess of the parade were Tyler Montag and Paige Gamble. She rode on a different float. The Howard Juergens family float. The Delbert Burning House family float. Bob Traub riding a float sponsored by West Bend Napa Store. Pam's Final Touch float. Eli Grimm Jr.'s 1928 Case tractor. A Grimm Situation, the Eli Grimm Jr. family float. West Bend International Corporation float. West Iowa Bank float entry. Family Practice Clinic float. Pro Advantage Services float. Roy Binger family float. Frank and Doris Motter in their 1947 Studebaker honeymoon car. A float sponsored by the Peace Lutheran Church. Riders are, left to right, Jesse and Jason Zinnel, Ray and Lorna Zinnel, Jim and Becky Zinnel. Seated in the back are Joyce Zinn and Laura Burnt. Country Nest float. Eunice Fair is keeping an eye on the nestlings. Prairie Crossroads float. A float by Perfect Touch. Riders are Linda Schmidt, Robin Gears, Kay Brown, Deanne Banwart, and Beth Grimm. Seated behind the barrel is Angie Heliseth. This is a picture of Larry Fogarty and his restored 1964 International Harvester half-ton pickup. Larry and his wife Karen are living on the family Century Farm, which has been in the family since 1890. Montag Manufacturing float. A float by Northwest Telephone Company. Max Yield Cooperative float. Don Banwart and his 1952 Ferguson tractor with the rest of the family in tow. Farmer State Bank Don't Miss the Boat float. Barb's Beauty Shop float. Mark Montag driving an old Ford tractor. Spectators watching the parade. This particular vehicle had the misfortune of engine failure, something about vapor lock and gasoline. A float sponsored by North Iowa Realty and the Bob Banwart family. A 1941 Buick convertible owned by Lyle and Helen Morey Marshall. Herb Morey driving his G model Alice Chalmers pulling a portable water pump. More parade watchers. Community lumber and supply float. Drama club float. Glenn Jellybelly Alderson and his wife Leona in their 1949 Dodge half-ton pickup. Richard Zaug family's covered wagon. West Bend Care Center float. West Bend ambulance float. Darryl Zaug is driving the vehicle. Chuck Schmidt on his Model 44 Massey Harris tractor. Model D John Deere tractor owned and driven by Clifford Grimm. This float is by the Montag family farm. Frank and Sons are the riders. Ron and Andy Tilgis driving a team of horses pulling a wagon. The float was sponsored by Painted Pony Saloon. Somebody has to do the dirty work. Karen and Doug Schwarzkopf get to scoop up the leftovers. At the all-school reunion, seated left to right are Larry Burninghouse, Mrs. J.D. Ferguson, and J.D. Ferguson. Marge and Vernie Kramer are also in the photo. More photos of the all-school reunion. View of the eating shelters at the all-school reunion. Other sesquicentennial activities were inflatable games, kids rides, chaos on wheels, Miller sisters at the kickball game, Amy, Andy, and Dixie, Lanny and Charlene's children. Activities at the West Bend swimming pool. Keith Lubenthal and Ed Montag tending the grill for the Knights of Columbus. Lions Club stand. Memorabilia for sale at the Sesquicentennial. Rex Brown is looking over the merchandise. A photo of some of the merchandise to be sold at auction at the celebration. Contestants preparing for the sack race held at the football field. A view of some of the crowd watching the various activities held at and near the showmobile. A photo of the talent show contestants. Beard contest winners were from left to right: Chuck Schmidt, Nate Newhouse, Phil Sorensen, Eli Grimm Jr., Rex Brown, Don Banwart, Bill Borman, an undefined contestant, and Lester Binger. Joe and Kathy Montag and Jim and Julie Bargman being awarded plaques for their work in making the Sesquicentennial celebration a success. A picture of one of the welcoming signs located on the highways entering West Bend. The West Bend Historical Committee would like to thank each of you for taking time to view this second edition of the History of West Bend DVD. We need to thank Country Made Incorporated for the use of their equipment and the talents of their employees, Darren Massner, Jordan Knapp, and Jeff Hall, for putting the audio and video in viewing form, and also our narrator, Tim Olson. We must not forget to recognize the efforts of Margaret Grimm and Dave Simmons for spending much time and energy in gathering the data and compiling it into useful information. If it weren't for the many volunteers and hours spent by many people on this endeavor, it may not have become a reality. Thank you again for watching.